The following is a fourth-hand production.
Obsessed with UFOs and extraterrestrials?
Convinced there's a chupacabra in your backyard?
Is your doppelganger ruining your life?
Do you love all things haunting related?
If you answered yes to any,
Or none of these?
then these are the mostly sensical, slightly drunken ramblings for you? Question mark? I'm Emily.
And I'm Joel, and we're the hosts of Drink Drunk Dead. Join us
Our two cats, Emma and Otto, and our house ghost,
every week as we have a few drinks, discuss all things paranormal,
and raise a toast to our ghosts.
Hey guys, welcome back to State of Fear, episode number 27 for the great state of Montana.
Montana, yes.
No, not Joe Montana, the great actor. This is Montana. Yes, the sultry voice you heard is my good friend James.
What's up, everybody? Good
Man.
to be back doing this again.
It's great to be back doing that. Before we get started, let's go ahead and announce our brand new Patreon.
Must we?
Yes, we do.
shall.
Yeah, we have to. We have to promote this shit.
Yes.
So yeah, we're at Patreon now.
I will be posting the links to that actually on our social media probably first thing in the morning after this recording.
And you can actually go to our all of our social medias, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, and find links to them there. Or you can go to patreon.com, State of Fear, all one word, and find our Patreon and subscribe to one of our wonderful tiers. And we have 3 tiers, range from $1 to $5, $10. They all have great content.
That they do indeed. And we will be adding to it constantly, and we will be adding all kinds of goodies. So you never know what you're going to get.
By the time you hear this episode, we will at least have something posted
There
to
will
the
be
Patreon.
something up there. That is correct.
It's a great way to go help us out, and everything that you donate or subscribe to, all the money goes towards back into the show.
It goes back into the show for guests, research, supplies,
all kinds of good
equipment
stuff.
upgrades, anything we need.
Yep.
We sure appreciate any
Books,
help.
subscriptions for websites if we need research. All of it goes right back to the show, so it's a great way to help us out if you enjoy the show.
Now, if you see me driving a Ferrari, just ignore that.
Yeah, that's from his other secretive money he has offshore somewhere. So it's definitely not from the Patreon. This one, at least not yet. Maybe later, but not right now.
You never know.
Yeah. Go subscribe on Patreon if you want, please. We'll appreciate it. Go find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And Twitter.
We're on all of them. Just look up State of Fear Podcast. You'll find us under all those and follow us.
We don't have a website yet because we're kind of lazy in that way.
Yeah, we'll get one at some point. We're not worried about it right now. Don't forget, we still have the review giveaway going on.
Yes.
Just go give us a review and send us a screenshot. Email it to stateoffearpodcast@gmail.com, and we will send you a vintage collectible 1996 X-Files postcard.
Yes.
And we've already had a couple people who have done that, and we thank you very much. And we will send you your postcards. Actually, by the time this comes out, you should have them already.
As they say, while supplies last. So don't
Yes.
miss out on yours.
That's right. And I also want to say thank you to all the people who have gone already to review on Apple. We appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you very much.
Everybody's
Very,
been very
kind words.
Very kind. Yeah.
We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into the show. But before we do that, let's do some fun facts about the great state, the 44th largest population state in the U.S.
Yes. It's a very large state, hardly any people.
Yes.
Sounds like a good place to live to me.
Lots of
I have a very good friend
land.
I have a very good friend up there. My buddy Mike, he is a postal worker.
Okay.
And I can't remember where exactly he lives. I feel ashamed for that fact.
Somewhere.
But beautiful state.
Yeah.
I've been there a few times. They have some pretty cool stuff. They have this candy that I really like. It's called Moose Poop.
It sounds wonderful.
It's chocolate and caramel with crunchies in it. It's good stuff. Of course, you know. And then
It's got to have a great name, though. It just can't be called caramel candy.
And then they have what's called Moose Drool, which is a pale ale beer, which is a little bit thicker than regular beer, but it's actually pretty good. I don't really drink much, but I had to try it. It's pretty funny. So, but it like I said, it's a gorgeous state.
Oh yeah, it looks gorgeous from the pictures that I've seen.
Yep.
But let's get into some of the facts. So, the origin name of Montana comes from the Spanish word for mountainous.
Montana offers almost 28 million acres of public lands, almost 30% of the state's total acreage. That is awesome.
Montana also has more different species of mammals than any other state in the U.S. There are approximately 100 species of mammals, including elk, bighorn sheep, caribou, and bobcats.
That's crazy. The Yellowstone River is the longest free-flowing, undammed river in the contiguous United States. The longest river in the U.S. by miles. The Missouri River begins in Montana at the Three Forks, the intersection of the Gallatin, Madison, and Jefferson River.
Wow. The famous ghost town Bannack was founded in 1862 during the largest western gold rush since the California Gold Rush in 1848. It was the first capital of Montana Territory until the capital was moved to Virginia City.
Nice. The famous fly fishing movie, A River Runs Through It, focuses on the Blackfoot River in Montana, but most of the fishing footage was shot on Montana's Gallatin River. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I think you are. I think that sounds right to me. It looks right. I mean, phonetically. The largest observed snowflake fell during a storm in 1887 in Montana. It was measured at 15 inches wide.
Holy crap.
That is a huge
snowflake.
Yeah. Can you imagine if like the whole storm was that size?
Man, that's crazy.
That'd be crazy.
Tufts Love Rex, a giant Tyrannosaurus skeleton, was found in 2016 in Hell Creek, Montana. I like that name.
That's a good name. Yeah.
It is only one of 15 virtually intact T-Rex skeletons and one of the largest ever found.
Awesome. And last but not least, Glacier National Park has 250 lakes in its boundaries.
I love Glacier National Park.
Speaking of Glacier National Park, that is the area of today's story.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. But before that, why don't we get into your weird news of the day?
Why not? Man, that music makes me proud to be an American. I'm telling you.
And I'm proud to be an American. All right, what do we got for us today, James?
Today's story comes from the website metro.co.uk.
All right.
Written by Zoe Druitt. Bless her heart. This is a good one. Dated 26 May of 2020.
Pretty recent.
Title of the story is Man with Shoe Fetish Stole 126 flip-flops so he could have sex with them.
126 pairs of flip-flops? Holy crap.
Well, you know, here
it takes all kinds, right?
It does, man.
All right, let's get into this funny sick story.
Yes. A man has been arrested in Thailand for allegedly stealing his neighbor's shoes in order to have sex with them.
Gross.
I'm going to do my best with this name. It's Therapat Klaya, 24 years old, had a fetish for flip-flops and was found with a staggering 126 pairs that he had pinched from the locals in Nothenbury, central Thailand, police said. Officers identified Klaya using footage from a closed-circuit TV set up outside his latest alleged victim's home. Alleged. If he's running out with flip-flops, they got him.
It's real simple. In Thailand, you don't wear shoes inside. So 1 second they're there, the next second they're gone. There's not really any alleged. They're actually victims. The shoes are victims. Flip-flops are gone. It's a victim.
Your shoe gone. Your shit got stolen.
You're a victim. You're a victim, exactly. All right, go on.
When they searched the man's home, they found his sprawling collection of shoes that he had claimed he had been collecting for more than 2 years.
Wonder how many of them were Crocs.
Who knows?
A lot, probably.
Klaya said he would wear them around his home as it turned him on, police claimed. He allegedly told officers that after several hours of wearing the flip-flops, he cuddled and kissed them.
Oh, my God.
Stripping them off and rubbing them on his body. You got to leave that chuckle in.
Wow.
Before having, quote-unquote, sex with them.
God dang.
You know what? Some things in the world just have to be seen. I don't know.
Okay, wait. Are you saying you want to see a man have sex with a flip-flop, James?
No, but it would be... I'm just curious as to how.
Okay.
That is funny. All of them are well worn, it said. I'm sure he's been working them pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
The vast array of footwear was laid out in front of the Nothenbury police station as part of a press conference on Monday. Klaya admitted 3 charges of nighttime theft and snatching, possessing a digital transceiver without permission. What?
I didn't realize that was a...
And violating the coronavirus curfew. Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the least of your worries, pal. Anyway, Major Colonel Ekhop... I'm not even going to pronounce this last name. It looks like...
Ekapop...
They only got it in here once. I'm just going to say...
Let me see. Prasit Waranachia. Prasit Waranachai. Prasit Waranachai.
Praset Waranachai.
Nice, very good.
Told local media it was not Klaya's first offense for similar acts. Oh, God.
Oh, man, this poor guy.
Yeah, what would it used to be? Socks? Socks first? I mean, I don't know. He said, after we arrested this suspect, we also found that he had already been arrested last year for stealing flip-flops in another district.
It's always been flip-flops.
I guess.
He just moves his crimes.
I guess so. He fully admitted stealing the sandals for lewd purposes, so he will be detained at the station until a court appearance for prosecutors to decide on the next part of the legal process for him. First of all, they're probably having to think of what in the hell do you charge him with?
Wow.
Sex with a shoe is not really a crime.
Yeah, they're obviously not going to charge him with the sex.
It had to be the theft.
They're going to just be the theft, but it's also, I mean, I guess, as long as he didn't do any of the lewd stuff in public, I think that part's gonna be fine, but it's gonna be the theft, which is not gonna be very much. I think if anything, he'll get more time for the possession of a digital transceiver without permission than he will for the shoe theft.
Suppose. Well, anyway, that is the story, brother. That's funny. It caught my attention. It made me laugh, so I figured I'd want to share it with the folks.
I'm sure flip-flops over there are like literally a dime a dozen, so
probably
the amount of his actual stuff he had in his house is not going to be very much. So I don't think he's going to get really charged that much for that. But wow, great story.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, man. They got some strange ones out
Look,
there.
man, the name of the segment is Weird News, and that is some of the weirdest.
It qualifies. Most definitely.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into something not as fun. Let's get into the main story.
Let's do that.
let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is the so far only one time that two bears attacked two different people in one night in the state of Montana.
Within like 90 minutes of each other?
And within less than 10 miles apart from each other.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, bear attacks are I mean, not as much now, but back then they were very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare. I mean, according to some statistics I found, for example, between 2000 and 2015, there were only 664 bear attacks on people globally.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty rare, but not as rare as it was back then, of course.
But, as always, who always screws things up for the wildlife?
Man.
Yes.
Humans.
Yep. I will let you get into your story, and I shall elaborate on specific subjects when we get to them, good sir.
There were 40 bear attacks around the world every year, or there are 40 bear attacks. The number of attacks in California decreased by 99% between 1998 and 2019. That's actually amazing.
Because they're vegetarians.
I applaud them for that.
Nobody wants to chew on a stalk of broccoli. They want some meat.
I think also at that time, that was when mountain lions were increasing their attacks on Californians.
I think mountain lions were stealing their business.
Because they're assholes. There were only 2 fatal bear attacks on people in the Appalachian Trail between 2000 and 2016. That's it, 2. Mm-hmm. There were only 4 fatal bear attacks in Ontario, Canada in the last 100 years.
Wow.
4.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There weren't any wolf attacks on people in North America since 1998.
You know, and it's funny. That is extraordinarily rare.
It is.
It's basically if they're instigated or trapped, that is when they attack. They don't just attack. Yeah. I want people to know that right now. That no, you're just not going to walk through the woods and a wolf pack's going to come and tear you to shreds or anything like that. Don't pay attention to what you see in the movies. You know.
So for comparison, as we mentioned, 40 bear attacks around the world every year. On average, lions kill 22 people per year.
Yep.
Sharks.
Hopefully poachers.
Hopefully, yeah. Sharks kill at least 6 people per year.
Go shark.
So that's per year versus bear attacks around the world per year.
I'm not pro-death, but I am pro-animal.
Yeah,
we've already invaded their space. We kill them, you know, for no good reason a lot of times. Hunting is one thing, but just trophy hunting.
Yeah.
I've, you know... Yeah, I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't trophy hunt. When I've hunted in my life, I hunted strictly for meat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. I don't agree with just going out and blasting some animal, taking his horns, and leaving the rest laying around to go to waste.
Gotcha.
I don't go for that.
Gotcha. You go for the purposeful kill.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
If he's got a good rack, he might go on the wall, but the problem is the rest of them's going in the freezer.
Going to be eaten.
That's correct.
That's some good food right there, man. Since Yellowstone was established in 1872, 8 people have been killed by bears in the park. More people in the parks have died from drowning, where there were 121 incidents, burns, falling into the springs of 21 incidents, and suicide, 26 incidents that have been killed by bears.
Now, suicides. I wonder what kind of suicide.
I'm sure it's anything from shooting themselves to hang themselves on a tree, kind of like the Japanese suicide forest.
You'll stand over Old Faithful and get blasted.
Yeah, something like that. I'm sure.
Jeez.
So there have been 8 fatal bear attacks in Yellowstone since its inception. That's it.
That's not bad.
No, the first one happened in 1916. Then your next one happened in 1942 when a bear killed a woman at night in the Old Faithful campground. Then 30 years later, in June 1972, another killing. You jump to July 1984. And then you go 2 years later to October 1986, where a photographer was killed by an adult grizzly bear near Otto Creek in Hayden Valley.
Hence, photographer probably got too close.
Yeah. July 2011 is when you go to the next one, which is a good amount of distance. But then the next 2 get a little closer. Is August 2011 and then August 2015. So, but that's just as more people into the park and stuff. But
yes,
even then, I mean, from 1986 until 2015, there have been only four fatal attacks by bears in Yellowstone, which is not a lot.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, I will interject, as I often do, is caused by human stupidity.
Right.
Bears don't just come creeping around. It is people leaving food out, people feeding the bears, you know, like all that stuff you see in the movie where they go down to the dumps or they go places and you see people throwing food out to the bears and stuff. That is a huge no-no. And I'm just asking everybody here who's listening to please always remember, if you go out in the forest, don't feed the wildlife. They don't need you.
Nope.
They don't need you at all. And all you're going to do is cost a bear or any other kind, or maybe a wolf or a mountain lion, their life. Because if you bait them, they're going to come around. They're going to lose their fear of humans. This is why there were no attacks back then. You know, they were afraid. You know, you got to make noise around them. You got to do all this stuff. They'll stay away. But if you feed them, you make it easy for them. They, you know, and then you're going to come into a situation where you're going to surprise them or corner them, and they will attack.
You're also going to cost someone else their life.
Yes.
Because that person that the bear kills wouldn't have been killed if you hadn't been one part of the problem.
Exactly.
So you're going to cost someone their life, and then you're going to cost the bear's life.
Yep.
Which is two unfortunate deaths that did not need to happen.
Yep. See, I care about people's lives, but I care about the animals too. Yeah. Very much so.
So let's get to Glacier National Park. On average, there are only 1 or 2 non-lethal bear incidents in a given year. And there have only been 10 bear-related fatalities in the history of the park, and all those have occurred since 1967.
Mm-hmm.
Now, only 3 of these fatalities included hikers, and at least 2 of these were solo hikers. There haven't been any fatal bear attacks in Glacier National Park since 1998, according to bear attack statistics. The vast majority of bear attacks have occurred because people have surprised a bear. In this type of situation, the bear may attack as a defensive maneuver, which is obviously.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yes.
In rare cases, bears may attack at night or after stalking people. This can be very serious because it often means the bear is looking for food and is preying upon you. Also could mean that the bear is sick, ailing, or is older and just doesn't have the ability to hunt like it used to.
Yeah.
And humans are easy targets.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're attacked at night or if you feel like you have been stalked or attacked as prey, try to escape. If you can't escape or if the bear follows you, use pepper spray if you have it, or shout and try to intimidate the bear with a branch or rock. Do whatever it takes to let the bear know you are not easy prey. Now, if you do surprise a bear, here are a few guidelines to help you survive the encounter.
Yep.
Talk quietly or not at all. The time to make loud noise is before you encounter a bear. Try to detour around the bear if possible. Don't run. Do not run.
No, you
they
take
will catch
off,
your ass.
And they run about 30, 35 miles an hour. They will catch you. They're extremely fast.
And do not climb a tree.
No.
Because they will get up the tree.
That is also extremely boneheaded. Let me
Yes.
get up a tree. Go on YouTube, watch a video of any bear. Just say bear climbing tree, and you'll see how fast they can scale a 30-foot tree.
You climbing a tree is basically turning yourself into a shish kebab.
Pretty much.
Yes.
You're a roasted marshmallow at
That's
the end
right.
of the stick. That's right. You're
Back
done.
away slowly, but stop if it seems to agitate the bear. Assume a non-threatening posture. Turn sideways or bend at the knees to appear smaller.
Yep.
Use peripheral vision. Bears may interpret direct eye contact as threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Drop something, not food, to distract the bear, but keep your pack on for protection in case of an attack.
Yes.
If the bear attacks and you have pepper spray, use it.
Yes.
If the bear makes contact, first thing you got to do is protect your chest and abdomen by falling on the ground, on your stomach, or assume a fetal position to reduce the severity of an attack. Cover your back with your neck. Cover the back of your neck with your hands, and do not move until you're certain the bear has left.
Which is that's very difficult because if you lay perfectly still and they do leave you alone, they're going to bat you around.
Right.
They're going to bite you. Mm-hmm. They're going to nibble. They're going to toss you around a little bit.
Yeah. It is going to cause damage.
And it's scary because at some point you're going to want to look up and that bear could be observing you for movement.
Yeah.
You move, they're going to jump on you again. I've heard stories of this. One guy killed a grizzly in Montana with an arrow because that's all he had. He was out bow hunting or he's hiking, and it got on him, and he had to fight this thing off with this arrow, but this thing had peeled the skin off his skull.
Yep.
I mean, it tore him up.
I mean, they're huge creatures.
And you were talking about also making noise and stuff. So a good tip is tie some tin cans. That's what I used to do. I've hiked in those areas before. Tie tin cans to your backpack. or your knapsack. You make a ton of noise, you'll never see one.
Yeah.
They will avoid you at all costs. They can hear you up to a mile or 2 miles away. They can smell you, and they will leave you alone. Now, if you see cubs do not flee from humans.
Yeah.
They don't. So if you see cubs, turn around and get the hell out as fast as you can, because no matter what you do, if mama shows up, she's going to attack you.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing you can do about that.
You're dead.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. It's funny. There's whenever we go hiking or riding bikes or whatever, just at some of the trails we have around here, there's no bears around here.
Nope.
But people, whenever we pass people, sometimes we hear like their music playing, and they have like speakers or whatever. And it used to really it still kind of pisses me off, because I'm like, nobody wants to hear your crappy music, first of all, but that would be an actually perfect time to carry one of those Bluetooth speakers, one of those Jawbones or whatever, put on your backpack and just play your music as loud as you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people might say, oh, it's going to disturb the peace and nothing. But when you're in a situation like that, it is dangerous. I will say that these parks have provisions in place. If you're hiking one of these loop trails, they can be up to 50, 60 miles long. They have designated stopping points that you're required by law, at least it used to be this way when I did it. You're required to stop.
Okay.
You're required to sign in at these points. They have pens out there in a sign-in book. If you disappear for any reason, they will follow the track. If you haven't shown up in a certain amount of time, they will come look for you. They will check each point and see where you signed in last. So if you disappear between site 3 and site 4, they'll look in between site 3 and 4 for either a steaming pile of bear crap with a pair of sunglasses in it, or they will try to find your injured body.
Right.
It narrows it down because these places are so massive and unpopulated that it makes it easier for them to narrow the search. So if you're injured or lost, it'll make it easier to find them. But that's why they do it.
Yeah, that's a great tip. So make sure you do that.
Please.
Yeah. And so we say all of this to point out the fact that not only are bear attacks rare now, or rare, not as rare as they were back then, but back then they were super rare. And so to have one lethal bear attack was, stunning enough.
Yes.
It was sad enough. But for one night, in a span of a few hours, 2 people would lose their lives in the same park by 2 different bears.
Yep.
In the space of less than 10 miles apart.
That's crazy.
That has never happened before and has yet to happen since.
But it was probably triggered by a fatal mistake, which I'm sure we'll get to here.
Let's do it. So it's a story as tragic as it is unimaginable. Now, Glacier National Park had never recorded a fatal grizzly bear attack since its creation in 1910, but that all came to an abrupt halt in the summer of 1967. In a matter of hours, 2 grizzly bears had acted as they never had before in the park's 57-year history. Several miles apart, each bear had mauled a young woman on the same day, in the dark, early hours of August 13th. 2 19-year-olds, Julie Hegelson from Minnesota and Michelle Coons from California, were both asleep under the big sky of northwest Montana when grizzly bears found them and carried them off. The incident is haunting not only for its place as the first tragedy of this sort in the park, but because Coons and Hegelson were killed by 2 different bears in 2 different areas of the park. To this day, the terrible coincidence can't be fully explained. The improbability of 2 separate fatalities brought a host of theories as to the cause, from thunderstorms and wildfires to cosmetics and menstrual cycles. It reminds me of that scene from Anchorman.
It's funny, but it's true.
Yeah, that scene from Anchorman just always pops in my head.
I know. It's
And,
crazy.
Yeah, the bears can smell their menstruation.
They can, and that's what's scary about it. So
Yeah.
it's also another tip. If you're currently in that particular,
If you're having your period,
don't go in the forest.
Don't go in the forest. Yeah,
Please.
at least, or stay in the lodge or something. There was lightning the night Michelle Coons and Julie Hegelson died. So much so that for a time it was believed to have contributed to what happened to the young women. Although the attacks bore some similarities, the bears involved and their motivations appeared to be different significantly. But according to former Glacier Park Ranger Dave Shea, the event was inevitable. Bears were lured by garbage left in high-use areas, sometimes intentionally, until they were habituated.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I know.
Until they were habituated to associate humans with food.
Yeah. Idiots.
Garbage littered popular campsites and was even used to lure bears into populated areas for the delight of visitors.
That's oh my God.
The deaths of Michelle Coons and Julie Hegelson, who were both 19-year-old seasonal park employees, brought confusion and disbelief. A firestorm of headlines followed with reports of purposely feeding bears at Granite Park Chalet and generally lax garbage and bear management park-wide. The coverage culminated when author Jack Olson penned an article and book memorializing the events as, quote, "The Night of the Grizzlies," a title that stands to this day.
Hey listeners, are you a fan of true crime? If you are listening to this podcast, then you most certainly are. During these strange times, are you looking for a new true crime podcast? Then you have found your new true crime obsession. My podcast, Riddle Me That True Crime, covers both older cases as well as current ones. I cover both well-known and more obscure cases, such as the strange death of Blair Adams, the cyanide coffee murder of Myrna Salihin, and the disappearance of Sri Lanka's richest man, Upali Wijewardene. Riddle Me That True Crime is available on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you. Now back to the show.
Granite Park Chalet stands sentry at timberline over the twisting valley below, backed by a sawtooth ridge separating west and east sides of the park. On August 12, 1967, Hegelson and Coons, both 19 at the time, embarked on respective overnight backpacking trips.
I was literally 1 year old.
Well, you a baby.
Just a kiddo. I've just been birthed.
Both were spending the summer working in one of the park's lodges, Hegelson in East Glacier Lodge and Coons in West Glacier's Lake McDonald Lodge. Hegelson was from Albert Lee, Minnesota, and came to Glacier for the summer to work in the laundry at the East Glacier Park Lodge. Her friend, 18-year-old Roy Ducat, also worked in the lodge as a busboy. Now, Granite Park Chalet was full that day, meaning there were no occupancies.
None.
So Roy and Julie headed to a spot about 500 yards from the building. The pair set out to camp 20 miles east of Trout Lake in an undesignated spot about a quarter of a mile from the Granite Park Chalet on August 12th. The spot they chose was very near the path where bears trailed in to feed on the garbage left out for them.
Yipe.
Mistake number one.
Yeah.
That is, again, a human mistake.
Yep.
And working there, they should know that.
They should know that, yes. They should have been informed of such things.
Hegelson's path was surrounded by vistas of glacial valleys and mountain peaks. Her excursion took her from Logan Pass, roughly 8 miles up the popular Highline Trail, to the Granite Park Chalet. She and Roy arrived at about 7 p.m., ate their sack dinners, and watched the sunset before retiring for the night.
Sack dinner?
Yeah, I guess they didn't have Lunchables back then. So.
I guess not. No MREs?
No MREs. Nope. They civilians, man.
Oh, man.
Shay said these were unusual situations. There was all this garbage there, for one thing, and this young couple came to the chalet, and they were told not to camp down there. They were told this is where the bears come through every night, but they were young and in love and both sleeping in the same bag. So it literally was their fault because they were told. Yeah. They were warned in advance.
Yeah,
and
but
they
when do teenagers ever listen?
They all think they're invincible.
Yeah.
After the incident, Ducat told rangers he was awakened by Hegelson whispering to him that there was a bear nearby and he needed to stay still. But the bear still approached. First, it pounced on Hegelson.
Ugh.
Then it pounced on Ducat, biting and clawing him. He told rangers he tried to stay still. When the bear stopped, he got up and ran to a group of nearby campers. Good job. What a hero.
Get up and run. Leave her there. Yeah, there you go. Nice guy.
The bear turned its attention back to Hegelson. Ducat and the campers could hear her screams trail away as the bear dragged her into the woods.
Oh, Lord.
Shay said it took people a while to find her, but eventually she was found alive about 400 feet from where she and Ducat were sleeping. Hegelson was brought back to the chalet.
The chalet.
Hegelson was brought back to the chalet where rangers radioed for a helicopter to come and take her 40 air miles away to the hospital in Kalispell. However, she passed away before the helicopter arrived.
Oh, yeah, probably bled out.
There was nothing they could do for the girl, Shay said. She wasn't as badly torn up as the one at the lake, but she died of blood loss and of shock. A doctor on the scene who happened to be staying at the chalet that evening said the puncture wounds to her throat and lungs were fatal.
Yipe. Hence, cover yourself.
Yes.
Roll up in a ball.
As we mentioned,
protect your vital organs.
put your hands over your neck, over the back of your neck, and cover and go in fetal.
If they claw at your back, they'll tear you up, but they'll hit your shoulder blades, your backbone, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your hip bones, things like
You
that.
have better chance of surviving that way.
Yeah.
Later on in the night, as people at the chalet were trying to process what happened, a flashlight was shown into the garbage below the chalet. A bear was seen feeding on the refuse.
Huh.
Shay arrived on the scene on August 14th. I was basically told by the folks in Washington, D.C. to kill any bears I saw coming in for the garbage. By the time it was said and done, Shay killed 3 bears, including a sow that had 2 cubs.
See, now that is complete and utter crap. It is not their fault, but they lose their lives because of stupidity.
Because of people, yeah.
And that's exactly why they did it, like in my little town up in Colorado where my house is.
Mm-hmm.
They are very strict about not feeding the bears. They've got all the cans locked, so the bears can't do it. They had to eliminate it because we had a bear problem there for years. And they started tagging them, and if they came back a second time, they'd get put down. That's sad. It's ridiculous. They're just trying to eat.
Yeah.
But just like any living creature, they're going to take the easy way out.
Yeah.
If you've got a fully cooked dinner sitting here, and then you've got all the ingredients sitting on a table, and you have to cook, you're going to sit down and eat the one that's already cooked. You're not going to go and do all the hard work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, gee, many Christmas.
Identifying the bear responsible for Heggleston's death was not as easy as it had been at Trout Lake. However, Shay said he was fairly certain the sow and cubs he shot at the chalet were the culprits. I don't think there were human remains found, but since she had the cubs and she had blood on her claws, she was probably the bear, Shay said. Coons was from San Diego and was working in the park as a gift shop saleswoman during the summer of 1967. On Saturday, August 12th, she set out with Paul Dunn, Ray Nosek, Ron Nosek, and Denise Huckle, and Coons' dog Squirt to Trout Lake.
Squirt. I love it.
Great name for a dog.
I love that.
Even at that time, dogs were not allowed in the park. Only a week prior to Coons' outing in the lake, a troop of Girl Scouts hiking in the area was chased by a bear. The bear stole some of the girls' food and then moved on. And probably stole a bunch of boxes of Girl Scout cookies,
That's what I was saying. They took them cookies.
Man. You know what? They ran into freaking Yogi Bear.
Yeah.
Who stole all the damn cookies.
Give me that picnic basket.
Give me them Girl Scout cookies. No one was injured. A few weeks before that, the Hungry Horse News ran a photo of what is believed to be the same bear, though they misidentify it as a black bear because of its small size. The bear was known to be troubled long before August 12, 1967. That bear had been hanging around at the head of Lake McDonald where there was a private outfit called Kelly's Camp, Shay said. It was going back and forth, getting into garbage there. That was the same bear. We knew there was something not quite right about it. As Coons and her friends hiked to Trout Lake, they also crossed paths with a group that warned them about the bear they saw in the area. Management never sought to euthanize the unhealthy problem bear. In those days, the management philosophy was different, Shay said. Looking back, hindsight is 20/20, something we should have done. Today, that bear would have been a goner.
Yeah.
When Coons and her family arrived at the camping spot, the bear was quick to make its first appearance. The hungry sow approached the group's campsite and stole some of their food and left to search a nearby log jam. The friends decided to move their site closer to the shore of the lake and lit a bonfire to ward off any further encounters. At night, they settled into their sleeping bags under the stars and went to sleep. Then, the bear returned.
Ugh.
Huckle
Dun, dun, dun.
told rangers she awoke to the bear sniffing her bag. It was close enough for her to see its face in the dark and feel its breath on her skin.
Do you know why, dumbass? Because you had food on the ground out in the open, and while you were gone, he stole some, or she stole some, and then later she came back because
she wanted more
easy food source.
She laid as still as possible. The bear eventually left her and sniffed around the other sleeping bags. Then the bear approached Coons. She woke up and screamed. What happened next was a frenzied mess of terror. The 4 friends shot out of their bags, one with Squirt in tow, and climbed up the trees.
Stupid.
Dunn said he yelled for Coons to get out of her bag and climb a tree too. Coons was said to have yelled back that her zipper was stuck, that the bear was tearing her arm off, and then finally quoted, "Oh my God, I'm dead." From the trees, Coons' friends screamed and yelled, hoping to scare the bear off. But Coons had spoken her final words, and Dunn saw the bear drag her away.
Damn it.
The 4 survivors remained in the trees for more than 2 hours. At dawn, they came down and ran for the nearest ranger station. That's when Gildhart and Lana responded and discovered that her mauled body about 100 yards from the campsite.
Jeez.
Dunn told AP he had thought maybe Coons' scream aggravated the bear. Some of the guessed that the lightning and fire had the bear stirred up and defensive. Others speculated, given the nature of one of her injuries, that the bear might have been attracted to Coons because she was menstruating. Gildart and Landa stayed in the valley to give any hikers they found an armed escort out of the backcountry. Then they were sent back to Trout Lake with others to shoot any bear they found. There was no luck on their first day.
See, now that's what I'm talking about. Shoot any bear.
Yeah. And just so people who, in case we didn't mention it, Gild and Landa were park rangers who were working there at the time.
Yeah, but jeez, man.
But the next morning, Gildart went outside the ranger station they were staying in and saw a bear standing about 30 feet away. The grizzly raised up and looked out over the bank of the lake. Gildart yelled back to Landa and said to get the rifles. The bear started moving towards us, he said. We shot it. It was unusual behavior. Normally the bears I've encountered in the wild, and there have been a lot of them now, they always seem to run. They don't want anything to do with people. A forensic expert was flown to Trout Lake to inspect the sow and determine if Gildart had in fact shot the bear responsible for Coon's death. Gildart has said he sliced open the stomach and a big ball of blonde hair came tumbling out, Gildart said.
Yipe.
It was determined on the spot that this bear had glass embedded in its teeth. So here you have a bear with difficulty chewing and eating in the first place, as well as a bear that was horribly emaciated or run down. It couldn't eat. It weighed slightly over 200 pounds. It wasn't a big bear at all, and it was about 20 years old, an emaciated sow. That's the reason why it probably fed on the girl.
Just easy. Yeah.
Easy prey. Yeah, it was sick. It had glass in its gums, so it had trouble eating, so it went for easy prey.
But I ain't going for that excuse either because they still left food out and stuff.
Yeah, they were still stupid. Again, it was people.
Yeah.
Eventually, the National Park Service and many others concluded garbage habituated the bears to humans. With 2 deaths and public backlash, the agency drastically revamped its food storage, garbage, and bear management policies.
You think?
Many of these changes remain to this day, protecting the park's wildlife and millions of visitors. Protections and reverence for grizzlies has helped populations expand, even bringing talk of delisting the animals from the Endangered Species Act. Although such a move remains highly controversial.
Man.
Yeah, and I mean, I just that to me sounds like the making of like a horror movie.
And actually, I believe it was. I think The Night of the Grizzlies is actually a movie, and I think they based it loosely on some of these events.
Okay.
Do I know that absolutely for sure? No, but it was in the woods of the Northwest. The movie took place, and it was about bear attacks, of course.
Yeah,
Grizzlies.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but I think I may have heard of a movie being called Night of the Grizzlies. I mean, that sounds like a movie title.
It's there.
No,
so it is. Yeah. It's a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that's a crazy story, man. That's scary.
Is horrible story on both parts.
It's horrible in all aspects. It's horrible on the part of the people and their families. It's horrible on the part of the bears because the bears, the bears had no say in what happened. They just do what they were doing.
Yeah, I don't want to sound too harsh and judgmental of humans, but I am when it comes to stuff like this. People know better.
Well, and you say people know better, but people don't know better because it's still happening today.
I mean, guess not.
Just months ago, before the whole lockdown, there was a story of that woman that was gored by a bison because she got up close to it to take a picture of it at Yellowstone. Yeah. So people are still doing stupid shit.
And they're saying, oh, the bear attacked this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
The bear is mad or crazy. No, the bear is just being a bear. Yeah. Or the wolf is just being a wolf. Mountain lion is just being a mountain lion. Yeah. Problem is we are intruding too far into their territory and not respecting them enough and altering their habitat.
They're going to do what they're going to do.
We're taking away the forest in a lot of places. We're invading their turf. So they have no choice. They're going to wander into human areas, and it's not fair that some of them lose their lives due to stupidity. It's real sad. I hate it.
But you know who does have a choice?
Who's that?
Our listeners. They can choose to go and follow us at all of our social media outlets and other places. Why don't you tell them where they can find us, James?
Why don't I do that? All right, folks. You can find us on the fourthhand.com media network, along with our sister project, What the Suck, along with several other shows with lots of good people there as well. We are on the Big Evil Facebook. We are on Instagram, and we are on Twitter. And like Chris mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we are now on Patreon.
That's right.
Patreon.com/State of Fear, all one word.
Yep. Go find us there. Go check out the extra stuff. We have bonus content going on.
Yeah, I'm going to post all the information, and we will get that bonus content rolling. And yeah.
And don't forget, we have the giveaway going on. So just give us a review. Send us a copy through our email, stateoffearpodcast@gmail.com. And we will get you a X-Files postcard sent out to you. And keep an eye out for other possible giveaways coming in the near future.
Absolutely. We've also are asking that any of our listeners from any state, if you have a personal encounter of the strange, macabre, UFO, Bigfoot, whatever it may be, if you can email them to us at stateoffearpodcast@gmail.com. Make them about 5 to 10 minutes. If they're a little bit longer than that, it's okay. Just contact us. Let us know. We'll arrange for some other way to get the file from you.
Yeah.
Just record your name. You don't have to give your last name. The state that it happened in.
The time frame it happened in.
Now, it does not have to be in a state that we've either, we're looking for ones for states we haven't done yet.
Yeah,
but
just whatever state, doesn't matter. I think you're trying to make it too complicated. Just any state, doesn't matter. If you're listening to this now, and the first time you're hearing this, and this is Montana, which first of all, you've got like 26 other episodes to go back and listen to, so go listen to those first. But it's this is the first time you're listening, and you're like, oh man, I live in Iowa, but you're in Montana already. Send it to us anyway. We're going back around. Every state has a ton of stories.
That is correct.
A ton of stuff happens, so we're going back around. So send us your stories. We will get them into the state if we've already gone through it again once we come back around. Also, we are looking for local bands.
There you go.
If you want to submit your music for us to play on our episode, we would love to do that. We've already had about 6 or 7 people reach out to us and send us great music that we cannot wait to play on the podcast. But we want local bands from every state.
Yep.
We want you to represent your state. Send us your great music, and we will play it on an episode, and we will give you full credit for it. All right, James. Well, I am ready to move on to the next state. How about you?
Yes, sir. What do you say we get on down the road?
Let's do it, man. We'll catch you all next time.
You've been listening to a Fourth Hand Joint.